Hey everybody, it's meteorologist Jamie Singleton letting everybody hop on here. Wanted to update you guys on the latest on these thunderstorms, which kind of blossomed up on us this afternoon. We did expect that. You saw in yesterday's 7-day forecast that I had a red panel up for today as a weather aware day, and we continue that for today. Biggest thing with these storms, very strong straight line winds driven by instability. So you can see what's going on here on our regional picture here. And I'm going to kind of illustrate a little bit here with you. We've had storms earlier today up and around this area of the Mountain Empire from Bluefield, Tazewell County. Numerous trees down. We're talking 30, 35 trees down in a stretch here out of the coal fields of Tazewell County through Bluefield. That was in association with some straight line winds. These storms have now clustered up and around this area of Charlottesville, heading into just east of Lynchburg, Appomattox County, Buckingham County, and nearing the Farmville area. There's another dying cluster of storms still hanging on around Danville, and I'm also watching for the development of more storms here down here toward the North Carolina area, the mountains in North Carolina, where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Wilkes County, and a special weather statement out here across southern Floyd County and eastern Carroll County. There's also some rather impressive storm activity in the Tri-Cities area as well. This is because of a cold front that you see just off to the west here that's going to be pushing in for tonight. And you can also see this flashing area here in yellow. That is a severe thunderstorm watch, which is in effect for the entire area just about until 9 p.m. So it'll take a while to get this front through here. These are primarily low wind shear type storms, so we don't have a lot of spin. We're not worried about tornadoes. But what we are seeing, and I'll put the cursor over here so you can see it, we are seeing a lot of straight line wind damage, and sometimes with that you can actually see similar damage that you would see with a weak tornado. So a lot of people get straight line winds and they think, oh, it had to be a tornado because of the amount of damage done, and that's not necessarily the case. Today in Nelson County, the emergency manager there reporting 2 trees down near the intersection of Route 617 and 29. That was moments ago. We also had numerous trees down in Lexington and Raphine in Rockbridge County. That occurred around 3:30 this afternoon. You guys are now just cleaning up from that, and there's more storms off in West Virginia. I'm not sure they'll be severe when they reach you, but you'll still have some passing storms up near Lexington, I think, into the rest of the evening, but nothing like we just had. I do want to alert folks around Richmond that these storms are approaching from the west as they near the Richmond area as well. A tree down in Rockingham County, Virginia, and then we've got some other damage reports down here to the south. I know it's a little hard to see here, but trees down in the Glade Spring and Meadowview area as well, and we've got some tree reports down here across Stokes County. Multiple trees down. Also the case in Hickory, or just west of Hickory in the Burke County, North Carolina. Trees and power lines are down. So if we put this in motion, this is over the past hour. You can see how these storms have flared up. I've got the satellite picture up here too. It's kind of showing you everything in motion. Everything's moving on off to the east at a pretty good clip at about 30 miles per hour or so, but we're seeing all that wind being brought down. So again, it's this cluster that's going to be nearing Richmond, and then we've got kind of a tail here in another area that's also moving off to the east for the folks in the Greensboro High Point area of North Carolina. So that's what's going on that computer. Let me show you the latest radar that I like to use during severe weather, and we'll put it up here in the corner. So these are our current watches and warnings and lightning data. First, you can see the slew here that didn't show up on our other source, but this is impressive, the amount of tree reports that we've had down from some of these earlier storms. So whenever you see a storm complex like this nearing Farmville, Charlotte Courthouse, and Richmond, and you take the damage reports all the way back, it doesn't mean a tornado, but it does mean quite a bit of confirmed straight line wind damage. Numerous again, 25 to 35 trees down, probably closer to 50 if you compare all these hard hit areas too. That includes the Mercer County area, Summers County, and the West Virginia, Tazewell County as well. Right now we've got a pretty good storm going on around Hillsville into Patrick County. You can see that this is Interstate 77, quite a bit of lightning here, a lot of heavier rainfall. I don't see any rotation or anything, but I do see a pretty strong updraft. Vesta and Stewart, Woolwine, and Patrick County, you've already seen one storm today. This is moving on off toward the east. As you can see, the outflow boundaries from the earlier storms actually initiate. They collide over Woolwine, and then they reproduce here more storms. That's like pouring out molasses. That cool air spreads out along the surface. So we do have a special weather statement in effect for this area with the Laurel Fork area along the Blue Ridge moving east at 35 miles per hour. We could have half-inch hail with this one. Gusty winds could knock down some tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Minor damage to outdoor objects possible. So Hillsville, Fancy Gap, Dougspur, Laurel Fork, Meadows of Dan, Mayberry Mill, and Gladesboro want to be in a safe place. If you had anybody up on the Parkway today doing some, trying to get out of the heat, it would have been a good place. But unfortunately now we've got these stronger storms, and this one could go severe at any time. We've seen these pulse up at a very quick rate, and then they die out at a very quick rate as well. But the problem is it's during those few minutes where we do see a lot of the thunderstorm damage. This is in, again, Wilkes County. That also extends into southwestern Surrey County and western Yadkin County. This is until 5:45 at 4:39. A severe thunderstorm is located along a line extending from Millers Creek to Elkville, moving east at 30 miles per hour. National Weather Service saying there could be 60 mile per hour winds in this. And again, I'll put that in motion. You can see you've had one cell after another. And it's just amazing that we've actually seen these regenerate. Sometimes when it's a summertime pattern like this, you've got all that heat and humidity around. The storms will fade that out, work over the atmosphere a little bit, but we've got a little more oomph with our upper level energy, which isn't a lot, but it's enough to get the storms going. And that approaching cold fronts it's forcing the air up. North Wilkesboro, Elkin, Wilkesboro itself, obviously, Jonesville, Rhonda, Trap Hill, and Boomer in the path of this. Now, whenever you see a severe thunderstorm or a special weather statement here that you see outlined in gray, if you're in the path of all this stuff, you want to seek shelter away from windows. That's the big thing about the straight line winds, is they can blow out windows. Even though it's not a tornado, does not mean it's not a very strong storm. This storm here, just east of Danville, is over the Milton area and just south of 58 near the Carolina state line near Alton. I'd watch out from South Boston to Cluster Springs down to Virgilina. The cell at the moment appears to maybe have some small hail in it as well. I'm looking at the debris here as well. We can see some signs maybe of not tornadic debris, but when you have straight line wind debris showing up, you get those orange colors there, and you also have some turbulent air in motion. No rotation with this. It's just all straight line wind damage that we're considering maybe happening over a very short amount of time, but covering a larger area compared to a tornado. So you've got probably low-end possible tornado damage, although it's not caused by a tornado, but a tornado is like a needle in a haystack. These storms are covering a broad area, and that's why we're getting so many down tree reports here, and a lot of lightning as well. This is the Milton storm at 7 miles east of Providence, moving east at 25 miles per hour. We could have 50 mile per hour winds with this, and if it were to intensify a little bit, we would be looking at a severe storm. And once it goes severe, that's where you start to get your tree damage. There's a reason why the severe thunderstorm warning starts at 58 to 60 miles per hour and not 50 miles per hour. 50 miles per hour will blow around things and take down some large branches. Once you get to 58 or 60 and you see the yellow pop up here, that is a severe thunderstorm warning if it were to pop up at any second, and that means that trees could come down. These are hard to forecast because they can go up and come back down in a real quick hurry, but South Boston, Turville, Milton, Cluster Springs, Blanche, Hamer, and Zamora in the path of this. And again, a pea-sized tail and 50-mile-per-hour winds with that storm. We've got the obvious strong cluster here that just came through the Lynchburg area. You can see all of the lightning that is associated with this. I don't see any damage reports just yet, but in Nelson County, we've got, again, trees down 617 and US 29. It takes a while to get some of these damage reports in. But you folks around Farmville, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 5:45, issued by our neighbors to the east and out of the National Weather Service in Wakefield. So this was just issued at the top of the hour about 3 minutes ago. At 4:59, a severe thunderstorm located over Appomattox, moving east at 25, 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. Impact, expect damage to the trees and power lines with this storm. It's going to be around Prospect at 5:40, Farmville, Hampton, Sydney, and Longwood College around 5:45. So it's giving you a good lead time there. Other locations impacted by the severe storm, and we're talking straight line winds here, would include Kingsville, Rains Tavern, Berry Creek Lake, Tuggle, Elam, Reeds, Allens Mill, and Worsham. And for your protection, obviously move to an interior room. You kind of want to treat it like a tornado warning in that the circulation isn't there, but we certainly have some very strong winds. In fact, if I go over to our velocity data, there's a little bit of spin, and we are looking well into the mid-levels of the storm, but we are seeing some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds elevated within this thunderstorm here across Prince Edward County, coming out of Appomattox County as well. And we also have the potential to bring that down to the ground. Now, if we look up to the north here, you can see these storms here coming down Interstate 64 into Louisa County and getting closer to Powhatan and Goochland. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect, in effect until 5:15. They will likely extend it because it's heading down the road toward the Richmond area and Ruther Glen as well. We've got a couple damage reports just in. 2 trees down in Union Falls, and we've got 2,500 power outages near Lake Monticello at the time estimated there not too long ago. So a lot going on. Let's not forget our folks getting hammered right now in Appomattox County. Look at all of that lightning, very heavy rain, again some very gusty winds as well for this storm at Appomattox. That severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5:30, and again they will likely be picked up by the National Weather Service out of Wakefield as they continue to cluster and move into that area. So Appomattox, Dillwyn, New Canton, Toga, the National Historic Park there, all in the path of this storm as it's occurring right now. But mainly for you folks in Buckingham County and going into Farmville, we can zoom right on into Hampton, Sydney there in Prospect, and you can see it's not quite into Farmville at the moment, but you're certainly seeing the lightning jumping out ahead of the storm there. It's certainly coming up 460 and heading to the east at a pretty good clip. So those are the storms that are really causing the concern. If you look off here to the west, we've got more in West Virginia and a couple of special weather statements here. None of these are officially severe at the moment, but some of them could become severe. So that's why the National Storm Prediction Center has a severe thunderstorm watch up east of the mountains until 9 o'clock. I'm going to show you some geeky stuff here. This is a satellite picture, and let's see if I can get you acquainted. You can see how these storms have blossomed into the heat of the day. You can see how, in a 3D nature, you can see these towering cumulus, these updrafts that are blowing up well into the troposphere and actually overshooting a little bit into the stratosphere, like this one right here. That actually is something that we see happen with some very strong updrafts. These winds blow up into the thunderstorms and then they come back down in terms of damaging wind. And you can see again, everything is clustering now toward the Richmond area. So it's this area here that I'm mostly concerned about. RVA, watch out. Still around Southside, Mecklenburg County, down through, again, South Boston. There's that cell near Alton. You can see the overshooting top with that. That's what you want to look for. You look for that cauliflower look on the visible satellite. And there's a good and bad with this because the sun is starting to get lower in the sky or getting closer to the sunset, but it makes it easier to see these. Let me stop the animation here. It's easier to see these towering clouds as they extend upward into the atmosphere. Let's see, where are my controls at? There we go. All right, so this is the latest image. So now that the sun's getting lower in the sky and Dot wants outside, I can show you that near Patrick County, Carroll County, you can see that overshooting top. That's an updraft that's actually penetrating well into the atmosphere and again, possibly producing some damaging winds and some hail. The threat's going to continue for quite some time. We've got quite a bit of what I like to call downburst threat, or at least what's called downward cape. This is storm energy that basically it's telling us that, let me just click one thing here. This is a measure of how much available wind energy in a straight line wind fashion is still possible. So you can see these really high values here from Richmond down through Mecklenburg County and Halifax and Southside. This is usually an indicator of some very strong straight line wind potential. And over the next 4 to 6 hours, that will start to go down a bit and shift off to the east, although we could have a few more remaining showers in our forecast as we head throughout the rest of the evening. The latest WRAP forecast shows it busy right now, but then once we get to about midnight or so, things are going to calm right down. I'm not even sure if the second batch will have much oomph to it, but there's a lot of heat and a lot of humidity out there, and that's been the problem out there with a lot of this. You can look at our amount of CAPE at the surface, and you can see that we're up around to 2,500 to 3,000 joules per kilogram. That's very high amount of storm energy to work with. There's a little bit that we have to overcome in the blue from the storms that we just had, but there's certainly a threat for this to come up and down in a real quick hurry, and that's what produces all of the damage out there. And that's why we're seeing all this power outages activity as well. You can see here in Princeton, we've got 1,371 cases of power outages. Also in Lynchburg, noticing in Lynchburg City right there, we've got 893 folks without power in Lynchburg. Patrick County, 864 without power there. That continues down around Princeton, down to Abington here, where we've got about 1,124 without power. Grundy was the first to get hit today from 880 power outages. Here it is on a simpler view just to kind of show you all the storms. And now we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning up for Patrick County. That's in effect until 5:45. So you can see a very strong storm there over Gladesboro. That also includes Mayberry Mill, Pike City. This was that special weather statement that I told you not too long ago. It's heading east toward Stewart and Cruise's store here. I'll see if I can put some overlays on. Then we'll put some of the roadways on. There's 57, 58 near Charity, Woolwine. It's moving off to the east. So folks in Stewart, batten down the hatches. That also includes Vesta as well. Even though it's raining in Vesta, the hardest part of the storm may include some small hail as well right now in eastern Carroll County. And we can get in a little bit tighter on that and show you that between Crooked Oak and Laurel Fork near Nestor. Possibly some hail in this one, and that's also going to contain some very strong wind, I would imagine. May have to watch this downstream in the Martinsville City and going into Philpott Lake and Bassett Forks as well as some of this heavier rain moves on off to the east. We'll zoom you out and again show you kind of this random nature. These are what we call whack-a-mole storms. They kind of pop up in a real quick hurry. And Dot, you got to work with me, kitty. You got to work with me. Go outside. Got a window right here. She wants it open. You can see our temperatures, though, are definitely falling off 70 degrees in the storm's wake, and that certainly takes some energy away from these storms. 67 degrees looks pretty good in Bath County, but off to the east where the storms have yet to move in, temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s here, Nottoway County and Lunenburg and Mecklenburg County down through Brunswick County, 92 degrees. And as they continue to near the Richmond area, they'll work off that heat and basically blow up into possibly damaging thunderstorm winds into the next several hours. So I'll continue to watch this. I'll put this in motion for you so you can get an idea of what everything is doing. And again, the storms in West Virginia may regenerate. I don't think they will because they got some cooler air out ahead of them, but they could. We've also got some flooding in and around Bristol City, it looks like, because of repeated rainfall from the storms. These can put down a real quick amount of rain in a very short amount of time. So just be alert to the skies over the next several hours till at least 9 o'clock, and then we'll see what's going on after that.